What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Three Kings, written and directed by David O. Russell, starring an all-star cast that includes George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and Ice Cube. Three Kings tells the story of four American soldiers that do a gold heist during the 1991 uprising in Iraq. Alright, so my overall thoughts on this movie is I overall thought that Three Kings was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. I remember vaguely seeing this movie in theaters, but my memories of it are very, very scarce. So watching it again with a fresh pair of eyes, it's a good movie. It's a solidly made movie. I think that David O. Russell overall did a really good job directing this movie. I like the production value of this movie. I think he really captured the feel of being in an Iraqi desert with his landscape shots. I like the characters in this movie. I thought George Clooney, Ice Cube, and Mark Wahlberg play their parts really, really well. Spike Jonze is in this movie also. He plays the friend of the Mark Wahlberg character. I think the Spike Jonze character of Conrad can be very hit and miss with his humor, but I overall thought that he wasn't horribly bad either. And I do buy that the Mark Wahlberg character and the Spike Jonze characters are like really close friends, and I think that they do actually have a good amount of chemistry. Actually, I think all four of these guys have a good amount of chemistry at all. I really buy them being like this group trying to do this gold heist, and I think it works for the most part. Like and I also like how this movie does have a couple of twists and turns to it. I think David O. Russell, for the most part, was able to balance out the humor and the action with this movie fairly, fairly well. Though I think there are some moments where the humor kind of undercuts a lot of intense moments. Particularly, there's this one scene where the Mark Wahlberg character is being interrogated, pretty much, pretty much being tortured by another character, and it starts off with some dark humor, and then it goes into just full out dark mode when the guy who's torturing Mark Wahlberg character tells him the story about how his son was killed during the bombs, and then he kind of threatens Mark Wahlberg, saying, "How would it feel if I killed your daughter with a bomb?" So, I, I mean, I am someone who likes dark humor a lot, but I don't know. To me, it just felt really uneven. I don't know. It just felt weird to me how you're doing jokes about Michael Jackson, and then you're doing jokes about bombing kids. It's really weird. It didn't really. I don't know. I didn't. I was having trouble trying to process what David O. Russell was going for with that scene, particularly with all that. So that's where I think some of the writing could be a little bit, questionable in a way. Like, okay, I'm not really sure what you're trying to get at. Um, the action sequences in this movie I thought were really, really well done. I particularly liked the scene where after the guys, steal the gold, they're in this village, and this village is pretty much being attacked by a bunch of Saddam Hussein's men, and these men decide to help out these villagers after a woman is shot and killed in cold blood. They pretty much save all these villagers, and it's these villagers that pretty much form a bond with George Clooney and his men as they got to now work together to try and save the Mark Wahlberg character who's pretty much being held captive. And that's where the Amir character comes in, and he starts to form a bond with the U.S. military as a way to gain refuge for his people after they help him out. So I think all that was handled fairly, fairly well. So yeah, overall, I think Three Kings is a good, solid movie. It's got some good acting. It's got good production value. The writing could be scattered here and there, but overall, it's nothing horrible. This movie is actually really, really solid. It can be a little too political in what it's trying to say. Particularly, there's a lot of George Bushness to this movie. But there's this one scene where they're trying to buy cars from a bunch of Iraqi rebels. It's a funny scene, but they George Bush wants you to this, George Bush wants you for that. So it's a very politically heavy movie when it comes to that sort of thing. But overall, I'm gonna give Three Kings a solid 8 out of 10. I enjoyed this movie. I highly recommend it. If you've never seen it, give it a watch. If you haven't seen it in a long time, give it a watch and let me know what you think about it. Anyway, like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.